This is the application for the Tapo C615F, which is their battery-powered floodlight. Here you can see I have it listed with all of my other devices. There is a quick toggle to set it to privacy mode by selecting that blue icon right there. It will also let you know its location, its name, and then its battery power status. Right now it is at 100%. But not charging. If it was charging, it would be green and there'd be a little lightning bolt there letting you know it was doing so. If we select the camera, it will open itself up. Now, right now, this is utilizing its color night vision. It's not engaging any of the LED lights yet. So just know that's probably going to change sometime during this review. Up here at the top, we have the name of the camera. We have our bit rate, our battery percentage, and then we have our live feed. If I tap on my live feed over here in the left-hand corner, there's a little box with a plus sign in it. Selecting this will allow me to add other Tapo devices to this camera. So I can go like that, and that one is technically in privacy mode, but we'll put them both in there. And now I can have a triple view in one location. And if I tap on that again, it's going to put it into single mode. However, I clicked on the wrong camera. I got to click on that one. Notice it's outlined in blue, and then click on the single square to bring me back to this camera. To the right of that, we have a icon that says 2K. This is a quick toggle to change your video quality. 2K is the maximum, 720 is its lowest, which is still considered HD, or you could set it to auto so it'll automatically change on you depending on your bandwidth. To the right of that, we have auto. This is for our video mode, or automatically changing between day and night mode, or you can select stay in day mode or stay in night mode. To the right of that, we have our full screen mode. Selecting this will show you your image in full screen. It also moves some of the icons around. So you could see you've got some of the things that were down here are now listed on the side. We also have a menu right there that will open it up. And I like to show you that just so you know what this will look like if you're in that mode. Coming down under what we had on our view screen, we have a camera icon. Selecting that will take a still image of whatever happens to be in frame at that time. To the right of that is a little movie camera. If you select that, it will record again in real time anything that happens to be moving through there. To the right of our movie camera, we have our audio. This is for the microphone. I always like to test this at full capacity, which is why it's in the red. You don't have to, just know that's what I do when I'm testing. To the right of the microphone, we have our phone. This is because this is a full duplex audio device. If I tap on this, I will tap to call, meaning that now I can have a live conversation with whoever's on the other end there. Nobody's there, so I'm just going to hang that up so I'm not killing the battery. To the left of our tap to call, we have our mic on and off and our speaker on and off. In the upper right-hand corner of this screen, we also have access to camera speaker volume and camera microphone volume. We also, right from here, have the ability to adjust our pan tilt. So I can select my pan tilt and move things around right while I'm talking without having to bring up the pan tilt options. On our pan tilt settings on this page, we can adjust the percent or degree in which our pan tilt will move. That's also accessible in another location, which I'll show you. Under our strip here, starting at the top, we have our talk. If I select this, this is different than the full duplex option there. This one, we actually have to press to hold, and you'll see blue around my finger emanating out. That is push to talk. You have to hold it there. And just like before, these settings are for the speaker and the microphone. And if we come over to the pan tilt controls on this one, it is for our degree change, just like it was for the fully duplex talk options. To the right of that, we have our pan tilt controls. Notice right now I have one viewpoint set up. If I move the camera thusly and press the plus sign there, that will save a viewpoint. That will allow me to quick travel between those 2 points without having to manually move things around like I had before. And then you can see you have several options of where you quick travel to. Upper right-hand corner here, settings. This is going to be for our pan and tilt correction, 5 degrees, 10 degrees, etc. We have our patrol mode, which will allow us to vertically patrol or horizontally patrol. This is kind of a one shot of look completely up and down as it's doing that. So it's going to go to the highest that the camera can go and then to the lowest that the camera can go. This is, and notice the LED lights popped on because it's getting dark. This is not going to be for a continuous patrol mode, but we can quick travel just like we did before between the 2 spots. Settings for this, again, will be our pan tilt controls. We're going to come back here, and if we needed to get rid of one of these, we simply hold it down and press delete, or I can move it, have the camera go slightly like that, and save another location. Notice now that it's dark enough that my camera has turned on the LED lights. This is not the spotlight. This is just the base LED lights on the camera head itself. We have our alarm. They made some updates here. We have auto alarm, which is when events are detected, it will go off, or manually trigger. So if I select this, it's triggering it outside. And that bright light that you see flashing there is actually the light for the spotlight. So you can see the difference of how bright that gets. We do have a setting here, which will allow us to make adjustments for the auto alarm or for the manual alarm. So if we come into auto, we have detection alarm. What does it do? Sound only, light only, or sound and light. Or we can do, what's the sound? Volume right here. Default sound, custom sound. If we're gonna do default, we have the option of siren, emergency, or red alert. And they sound like this. If we wanted to do a custom sound, we simply select it, say custom sound, and then we would record our custom sound. This is a recording for the custom sound. Notice that we only have 15 seconds to make up our mind as to what we want this to say. Better finish right now. Hit the stop button. Press play. You can kind of hear it from the phone itself, but it would be saying it outside. You have the choice of record again or select save. Saving that will save that as your custom sound that will be used going forward should you choose to use custom instead of one of the defaults. We're going to back that out because that was our sound type. We have alarm duration, we have default, or we have custom, which is anywhere between 50 to 30 seconds. And they do show that you can do custom, and that's just kind of picking anywhere in between. Alarm event type. Well, what do you want to trigger this? Well, I don't have cars back there, don't really want motion. I have some pets back there that I don't want to be back there. And if you're a person, I definitely want this going off, letting you know. And then you have an alarm schedule. So if you don't want this going off all day, you can select during the day, which is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, which is 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or you can create a custom schedule by selecting from when to when, and then what days this would run, and then hit save. Now that's all under our auto alarm. If we come over to manual, you have some of these same options, which is sound and light. Do you want the lights? Do you want the sound? Do you want them both? What sound do you want? And for how long? That's going to be for your manual trigger. So if you hit that manual, that's what's going to happen. We're just going to turn that off because we don't want that going off. And we're going to select back. That was all under our alarm. We have privacy mode. Turning on privacy mode will put the camera in a state that will not record and will not be visible to you. So if you ever need to not be recording anything, hit your privacy mode right there. Coming down, we have our light. Now again, you can see there are two LED lights on the camera itself that are going off. However, if I turn this on, this is the spotlight. And you can see, especially around the corners, depending on how I have this, we can move this up a little bit, kind of give you an idea of how far out that floodlight goes. And then if I turn it off, now you can really see the difference. So no floodlight, floodlight at max. It's amazing the amount of actual bright LEDs that they were able to shove in there in a battery powered camera. Here we have our tag. This will put a blue box around whatever it happens to be tracking, whether it's a person or a pet. And then there's another spot where you can do labeling for that as they move through frame. It just helps to keep track of what's happening. Here we have access to our Tapo Care. This is not necessary for the Tapo camera, but if you wanted to pay for 30 days of cloud storage or rich notifications with Snapshot or video summary, weekly reports, smart sort, or baby growth, which you probably don't want to do because this is an outdoor camera, not as necessary, but you have access to some paid features, but Tapo really doesn't beat you over the head with it and make it so you can't use the camera without paying for those. It is a 100% perfectly functional camera, even without paying for things. Moving on, we have our downloads and playbacks area. Here we can see it is only doing clips. It is not doing 24/7 recording, but here I have a clip of somebody who's walking through frame right there. That was a pet. And if I change the day, that is my neighbor moving my robot that got away from me. But pausing that, in the upper right hand corner here, we can select the speed, which can only be done while the video is playing. We can select as slow as 1/16 or go all the way up to 16 times speed. Just like before, we have options for our take a snapshot, record right from here, do a clip. So if the thing that's recorded is too long and you want to shrink it down, this is a really great thing that Tapo allows you to do. You can adjust the actual length of your clip so that you don't have to have a 1.5 minutes if you only need a 10-second snippet. And then you have your full screen mode right there. Here you can see we are on the SD card, but if you had cloud storage, you would select that and it would show you your cloud storage. We have a timeline which can pinch to zoom in. There's only the one clip this particular day. We can change how this looks, where we see a calendar, and anywhere that there's a blue marker is where something actually was picked up. So in this particular one, there were a lot of events. There's a deer that was wandering through my yard. You'd see the camera tracking it. Notice that they don't have the blue box around them because that's only in the live view. If I wanted to download this clip, I select the three dots next to it and select download. Let's say this wasn't a deer and this was a person. I can select correct the event and say, no, it was a person, not a deer, and then apply, and that will help the AI get smarter. Now, if I want to see my downloads, I simply come up to the top here, and this is going to show you all of your downloaded items. If you ever see something like this where it's downloading video, select that. You can see, oh, something might have failed. Simply hit the refresh button and that will re-download it. Now, moving down, we have another spot for our Tapo Care cloud storage. I left it there just so you could see it would be there, but you can tell it I don't need it and send it away. And that has been everything that we can do for the camera controls. Let's come up now to our settings. Starting off at the top, we have our device information. There's going to be some sensitive information in there, so I won't be showing you that, but that is another location for you to update your firmware, as well as change the name and the device icon. Moving down, we have detection. Right now, I have it only auto tracking pets and people. Here we have our wake up sensitivity. If I select that, you can change how sensitive you want this to be. And then you even have the option to do a range test. Well, what does that do? Well, that'll allow you to test and see if it's actually going to pick up things where you want it to do so. As I mentioned, here is our auto tracking. You can select never track, track all activities, or track specific. And if you select track specific, you have options as to what you want. I have no cars in my backyard, so I only have it auto tracking people and pets. Here we have our detection zone. Right now, I have it selecting for all, but I could hypothetically select for each. So person and pet, they would be different colors. I can select edit. So here we have motion, person, pet, vehicle. Well, let's say person, I really only care if they are close to where that camera is. And if I wanted to, I could set up a bunch more of these wherever I need it. And then I can come over to pet and set up specific pet related areas. This is one thing that I like about Tapo cameras, in that they allow you to set up detection zones for individual things. And then we have our detection types. So we have person on, pet on, and you can see vehicle and motion are off. We have our alarm. This is just like we did before, because now they move that to the front page. You used to only be able to access it through this setting. So I'm very glad that Tapo has made that change. Next, we have our battery status. Well, here you can see show battery status, show battery percentage, and then working mode. Right now it's on custom, but you can have high performance, balance, power, and then custom. If I leave it on custom, that just gives you access to the custom down here. And that's because I changed the retrigger time, the clip record buffer, and the length that a clip could be. If you come up to high performance, it'll give you a warning. And then there's always a learn more. If you're not sure, it will be giving you the type of performance that you want. Here we have our solar charging data, which currently is off because, well, it would have been smart if I turned those on. Auto privacy mode is good if you're bringing it into the house to charge, but if you have it charging via a solar panel, make sure that you don't turn that on. Coming down, we can see our battery levels over the past 7 days. I have not yet had this for 30 days up and running, but you could see it gives you a nice bar and line graph, and then it shows you battery usage. Well, here you can see how much it actually has been used for, and then time. And then we have our details down here. Wake time, events detected, filtered by. I am very much a graph and data person, so I like that Tapo gives us all of this information under our battery status. To the right of that, we have our pan tilt. We've got patrol mode. This is different than the patrol mode from the first screen. If I turn this on, it just gives you a warning that it will consume power. We are going to add a mark, and you would either move things around, or I can select a marker that I had previously. Notice it says layover time. What does that mean? It is how long will this stay in that location before it moves to the next location. So this is not a true patrol mode, where it's constantly moving between, it's going to be a minimum of an hour in one location. You also have timed panoramic photography. This is interesting. I have done this with my other Tapo cameras, in that you could set a specific time, and then every day at that time, it will just take a sweeping panoramic picture of your backyard or wherever you have it. Here we have our pan tilt degree angle, and then we have our pan tilt correction. What this will do is work the camera through all of its angles and set it to its true center. So we're going to let that do that in the background while we move on to floodlight settings. Up at the top, we have our brightness. Now notice if I select this, that actually turns on the floodlight, and then we can adjust the brightness here. So if you don't need maximum brightness, you can turn that on and off. And I like the fact that they give you this little preview window. We also have light on and off gradually. I've tried this. You might have seen it when I was showing you the clip of the deer, in that it will gradually turn itself off and then on. On is not as noticeable, but the off is really noticeable. So I kind of turn that off because I like the quick cut. And then you have your auto off timer, 15 seconds up to 5 minutes. I found 30 seconds is probably about the sweet spot for my personal use. We have our auto on settings. So it will automatically turn on based on sensor detection. And in my case, I have that at 8 for the sensitivity. And then extended time on, I have it for an extra 3 seconds, but you can go all the way up to 2 minutes after having detected something. And then we have auto on effective time. Well, do you want this during night mode when the camera turns itself to night mode? Do you want this during sunset to sunrise? Or do you want a custom date and time? I've been leaving it at night mode and have found that to work fairly well. Here is another location for our Tapo Care. And then we'll move down to our storage and recording. Right now I have it set for local recording. If I open up my local recording, here you can see it's set for loop recording right there. Shows you how much has actually been used. And then they have SD card encryption. This is a new feature that Tapo has been rolling out to a lot of their newer cameras, in that you can encrypt your card, where it will be device specific access. So if I took this SD card out and put it in another camera, it would not work. Strong authentication method, meaning there would be a second password just to access the camera. And then Tapo App access only, meaning this SD card will only work if viewed through the camera and viewed through the Tapo app. I would not be able to pull the SD card out and put it into a computer and see what was going on. And then at the bottom there, we have format SD card. Coming down, we have clip settings. Here's our retrigger time, where you have an adjuster. You have your buffer recording, which is why my recording was set for custom and not high efficiency. And then your maximum clip length, all of which are adjustable. And then you have your record sound toggle. If you live in an area where you cannot record audio with your video, that's how you would turn it off. Here we have LED status light on and off. That's just an LED on the front of the camera letting you know something is happening. Here we have our Wi-Fi network connectivity. Won't show you that, but you can access that if you ever need to change the network. Coming down, we have privacy mode. Just like we talked about before, turning on privacy mode will turn the camera into a state that does not allow you to visibly see what's going on in the live feed, or it will not record. And if allow floodlight on, if this is enabled, floodlight will remain active even in privacy mode. So even though I couldn't see anything, if something triggered the LED floodlight, that would still happen, which is an actual smart thing to do with a floodlight camera. We have our notifications. I have this on, so I have activity notification, which is going to only be for things that I selected, which is people and pet. I can select if I want motion and vehicles, and I have this as always, but we could do during the day, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., and then a custom day and time. Notice that rich notification is not on. Well, that's because you need Tapo Care for rich notification. So if you need a thumbnail instead of just a text notification letting you know that there's been movement, you might want to think about Tapo Care. Coming down, we have advanced settings. Starting off at the top, we have power line frequency, 60 hertz versus 50 hertz. If you don't know what that is, generally that's just for flickering lights. Voice call mode, well, you've got standard and compatibility mode. If you put on compatibility mode, what it will do is lower pretty much all of your settings just to make sure that you can actually make that video call. It might be degraded, but you'll still be able to do it. And then display settings is going to be the same thing for our hardware acceleration. If your hardware can't accept it, but you still need to make that call, you turn on compatibility mode and it will lower its settings. We have diagnostic on or off. If you turn this on, it's going to allow Tapo to gather information about your app and phone. don't need to do that, but if you ever need to diagnose it, that's where that is. We have share device. Well, what do we want to do? We want to share this, and this will allow you to share this camera with somebody else who has a Tapo account. Smart actions. These are generally pretty good if you have a lot of Tapo devices. You can say, if the camera detects a person outside, turn on this LED light, or if the camera detects a pet, turn on this exterior light, and they give you kind of like some pre-samples of what you can do. You can also create your own, which is very much an if this then that workflow. So during what time, when this trigger happens, if you don't have to, then this action happens. It's very simplistic, but more useful if you have a lot of Tapo devices. Coming down, we have our user guide, welcome and mounting guide. If you didn't notice that when you were going through the setup process, that's where they're located. You have your support center, which is coming soon. We have our firmware update. I have it set for automatic, but if you need to, you can manually have it check right there. We can reboot the camera and we can remove the camera from our Tapo app. And that has been everything that we can do for the Tapo C615F in the Tapo app.